Hello, my name is Jake Stock. In this video I will show you how to use the KPI Designer to connect the data and define the KPI metrics. First thing we'll do is open up the KPI Designer. We'll click Add New KPI List. So we'll supply the list name, and then we can set a description. And then we can select an image set. We'll use the arrows and go ahead and click Save. So then once we have our list completed, we can go ahead and create the KPI list items. And we'll use a database connection, so we'll set our query. So the first thing we got to do is create a new connection that'll point to our SQL Server. We'll call it Sales. Put in the server name. We'll use integrated security, and our database name is Sales Dashboard. And we'll go ahead and test it. Okay, everything is good, and click OK. So once we have our connection, we now have access to the tables, the views, and all the stored procedures. So now we just define our query that will bring back the value for our KPI. So we'll do the sum of profits and we'll filter it by quarter equals quarter one. And go ahead and execute it, and there's our result. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and save it. Now we'll set our goal, and then we'll set the KPI warning. Next, we'll create our detailed link, and we'll use a chart. So we'll configure the chart. Oh, let's first put the tooltip in. Okay, so now let's configure the chart. Okay, so we have an option to have a 3D chart or a standard chart. We'll use a standard column chart. Here you can select the legend and the title. So we'll set our title text, profits by per quarter. Next, we can define our data to create a query for the actual chart. And here we're using our same sales connection. And if we right-click that, it'll build a standard select query off of the table profit by quarter. And then we'll execute it, and it brings back quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. Next, we got to add our chart series, and we want the profits column. Okay, everything looks good here. Now we'll go to the type and layout, and we want it to be a currency on the y-axis format, and that should be it. Let's go ahead and save it and close it. And our chart is set up. And we should be done with the KPI list item. Now let's create the second list item. We'll call it quarter two. And once again, we'll use a database connection. We'll set the query. We'll use the same sales connection. And we'll select from the profit by quarter table. And we'll filter it this time by quarter two. execute it to test it. Everything looks good. Now we'll go ahead and save it. And once again, we set our goal value, as well as the KPI warning. Now instead of doing a chart, let's do a table as the detailed link. And we'll set the tooltip. And then let's configure the table. We'll select the layout of the table. We'll use Office. And now let's define the data. We'll use our same sales connection. And we will use the profit by quarter table. And if we right click it and select build query, it'll give us a standard select query. And now let's format the profits column to a currency. And hit apply. Next, let's set our title. And the table is created. And now we can go ahead and save it. So our second KPI is now complete. An aggregate group is a group of KPI items or even other aggregate groups. So let's now go ahead and click Add New Aggregate Group. Next, we can set the list name once again. And we'll set a description. Then we can set the image set. Okay, so once the aggregate is set up, we can do the mapping, and here we'll add profits by quarter to sum. And now we'll configure the aggregate group listing. And like I said, we want the sum, and then we'll select the format type. We'll have currency. Next, we'll define the aggregate goal, and once again, like the value, we want the sum to be the goal, the sum of the child KPIs. And we'll go ahead and hit save. Next, we'll create a placeholder object. Placeholder objects are standalone charts, tables, or a URL to other details. So first thing we'll do is select the placeholder name, then we'll set a description, and we'll go ahead and hit save. And let's use the chart. And you can either create a brand new chart or select the chart that we created previously in the first KPI. So we'll go ahead and save. Then we'll add another placeholder, and this will be the placeholder that we created previously for the table, detailed. And we'll set the description. It's the table of the quarterly profits. And now let's set it to be the table that we created previously. And there it is. And go ahead and save. Okay, and that's it. So now we have our KPIs, profit by quarter, the KPI list, and it's got the two KPI list items, quarter 1 and quarter 2. And then we have the aggregate group, which sums the first KPI that we created, quarter 1 and quarter 2. And then lastly, we have two placeholders that we can put on the page. Next, we'll configure the automated list updates. So we'll go to Tools, and we'll schedule a task. We'll go to New Task, provide the task name, then we'll specify in minutes how many minutes before each task will get run. So 10 minutes. And then we have the option to select update all the lists or individual lists. So now every 10 minutes our queries will be ran and we'll have fresh data for the KPIs. We'll go ahead and run it just to test it. Now we'll close it. And that's it. Thank you for watching how to use the KPI Designer to connect data and define the matrix.